Inverter 101 in English. I did an Afrikaans one. I did very well. And Englishman in Africa, this is a shout out to you. You said you like the videos, but you cannot understand everything. So yeah, this is, hopefully it will help others as well. So inverters is something that uses DC current and turns it into AC current. So in school we learned a DC wave. It's a pulse wave. So it just pulses the waves, and the AC current is a nice sinus wave. +1, -1, +1, -1. To get your equipment to work on 230, it needs to be in a sine wave. But then they use, so you get basically two types of inverters. One is a modified sine wave. Some will call it the simulated sine wave, and then you get the pure sine wave inverters. So they are a pure sine wave. The difference between them, a modified sine wave, simulated sine wave. If it's not a pure sine wave, it's not a pure sine wave. It takes this pulse wave and it turns it into a square. So it goes to +1, -1, +1, -1. The thing about that is, because of the square, all those on that side where this square is not is wasted. So it's very insufficient, but it's very cheap. So it can work. Most of the equipment will work on it, but like your lights and this and that. But anything that's got a variable speed, like washing machines and drills and fans and air cons and all those things, it's not going to work. It's going to damage it. So don't put it on that. Even power supplies, people will say it will work. Yeah, it's your laptop, you can put it in, but I promise you, one of these days you're going to replace your power supply, your charger. So yeah, pure sine wave inverter, if you can do that, go there. They're more expensive, but rather take a smaller wattage one and do it decent and take some of the things off than take a big 4,000 watt modified sine wave inverter and think you're going to run everything on it. You're going to have so much trouble. So yeah, that's the two. And then on the inverters, the pure sine wave inverters, you get all types, and you get the battery based, and then you get the inverter charger, and then you get the hybrid systems basically. So the battery base is just, you take it on camping and you put it on your battery, and it makes it a pure sine wave, or modified sine wave for that matter. If you take a modified sine wave, so you need to charge your battery. So your vehicle is driving, your alternator is charging it, you go camping and you put it on and it works. You can put everything on, so that's fine. Or you can put a battery charger on, but it's not the way to go. So rather go for the battery inverter charger. It uses basically the same as a UPS. So the current comes in, the AC current comes in, it charges the battery until it's full, and as soon as you need it, you can discharge the batteries. And that takes that pulse wave and it makes it in a perfect sine wave. Then you get the hybrid inverters. So the hybrid inverters, what they do is they basically charge the battery. And they've got the solar input. So you put your solar panels in, it's already got a solar charger inside of it. And it can also take from the panels, convert that DC current into a pure sine wave. You can do it with, there's a few brands, and I spoke about my favorite brand, the thing that I really am after because it's a South African brand, it's Microcare. I love them. Victron, brilliant. They are inverters that standalone inverters. So you put this MPPT charge controller separately. It does the same thing as a hybrid inverter, but your MPPT or you get PWM regulators as well. We'll speak about that later on. But your regulator, the solar charge controller, is not inside of the inverter. So what's the difference is basically, say for instance, your hybrid inverter, everything is inside. But if you get problems with your hybrid inverter on your solar charge side, then you have to take it off and take it in. So if you're off the grid, it can be a problem. But yeah, then on the on the inverters, you get on the Pure Sinewave inverters, you also get two types mostly. So the one is a transformer based inverter. It's a heavy inverter. It's an industrial inverter. It goes through a transformer, real copper. It brings out a perfect sine wave. It's heavy. You pay for the copper, but they are robust. There's not much PC boards or anything and caps and this and that can damage. So it's built to last more for forever. Then you get MOSFET inverters. That's your aspect, your RCT. I love of them. I like the RCTs, the Mesa. You get all these grow watt, must. Yeah, that's 5-star people. They are very cheap, and everybody's going on about that. But I see they turned into the transformer base. They brand it. So everything comes from China, I promise you. Some of the inverters come exactly from the same source, same fabric. They will brand it differently, but in that is also, you pay for what you get. So some of my suppliers, I can buy the same inverter from certain different suppliers, but the thing is the service. Who's bringing in parts as well, and who's giving a guarantee, and what does the guarantee say, or no guarantee, warranty, sorry. There's a big difference between them. So yeah, so the difference between those transformer based and MOSFET inverters is basically you pay for what you get in the copper. And then you get on the transformer based inverters, you get makes like I like Microcare, Victron. Then you get a transformer based inverter as well. That's SunSync. But there's a difference between that. You get the low frequency and the high frequency. They all do different things. SunSync is more like a hybrid inverter, where Victron and Microcare is basically standalone with the MPPTs outside. And yeah, so all these things has benefits and disadvantages. You have to decide what system you want in your environment with your budget. But yeah, it's possible to do it with little money or a high lump of money, but you pay what you get for. But I hope this helps. Again, ask some questions. We'll speak about the batteries as well. The batteries, most of the inverters can use any battery. Everybody say, can I use a lithium battery on it? Most of the inverters, if you can set the voltage in the menu, then you can just set the voltage. Some of them will communicate via like a LAN cable. You know, they will communicate with the inverter and see everything inside. Some you will just put it on the voltage. So yes, you get batteries that's small, lithium, lead carbon, which I also like, and then lead acid, lead gel batteries. They all differ as well in price. So if you've got a budget, we need to see what you want, and we will adjust something for you and ask you to put a bit more to get this advantage. This is the disadvantages. If you can live with it, if you can manage it, that's fine. But yeah, thanks for listening. You can go to LTV Tech. There's a podcast. I did in Afrikaans, more in detail, but I will also do the podcast in English. Thanks.